So I'm assuming he's good. So let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we'll slightly dabble in what was spoken about at PAX East. It was nothing regarding the major content updates to the game, just some stuff from the localization team and lead. But we will also be doing predictions for this coming live letter. I know what you're thinking, Happy, that's barely a show, but you know what? You're still watching. So, let's just get started. Anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Poverome. Of course, joining me is Sly, aka Slythefox, aka Sly, aka Greyfox, aka you, my boy Blue. How you doing?
I love that confidence. You know what? You're still watching.
You know what? You're still watching.
You're still watching. Not much of a show, but you're still fucking watching.
All I'm doing is I'm just taking their thoughts and making it my content. That's the best way.
That's a good way to do it.
That's a good way to do it.
That's how you do content creation. There you go. You don't even need to do a how-to video on content creation. You just said it in that one sentence.
There you go. That's what we call feedback. And I don't imagine this week's is going to be very. I don't imagine this week's is going to be very constructive. It's one of those shows. It's just one of those shows, Sly.
It's a show between shows, and you always get those shows between shows. And next week there will definitely be a show. And
the week after, because the week after we're definitely doing Aerzivia. Because I was away at PAX East this last weekend is the only reason we're not doing it this week. Because I was unprepared for the past couple of weeks. I would have absolutely been unprepared this week. I want to at least have like a period of time where I can go, oh, you know what? Yeah, I was able to, look up some things and try and remember things that might be important.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the show.
Well, like I said, there was a PAX East this weekend. It's just that we knew this wasn't going to be one of major importance.
No, I mean, well, to some people.
To some people. To me, it's Peaches. Some hardworking individuals put together something that's important for other people that might be more interested in, character development and localization, which is an important thing for us. Let's not beat around the bush. It just, to me, I see that there's a live letter the next weekend, and this becomes Peaches.
You're jaded. Well, I'm not really jaded. It's just that you're just waiting on the live letter.
I'm waiting on the live letter.
And I wouldn't classify this as Peaches just because the next week kind of overshadows everything. But it's still some juicy tidbits.
Well, the big thing is so basically the entire panel was about, like I said, it's about localization. It was about, let me get the exact name of the panel, which I had handy, but for some reason it appears to have disappeared off my screen because I was about to reference it. And then it just wasn't there. Also, for some reason, I'm getting alerts about cookies. So this was specifically, it's a story and writing panel featuring main scenario writer Natsuko Ishikawa.
No, fuck that. I want to hear about the cookies.
I mean internet cookies. Like, this website reacts to cookies.
I thought it was like real fucking cookies. Like, god damn it, don't tease me. Okay, go on.
Sly, listen.
Go on.
You and I are both fat boys, but we don't need to talk about actual cookies. I've got Gatorade, you've got tea and beer. Like, we can move past that.
Okay.
Now I want fucking cookies. God damn it. Anyway, I wasn't even thinking about it like that. Now you've ruined it. Okay, so yeah, it was a story and writing panel featuring the main scenario writer Natsuko Ishikawa and the English localization lead John Crow. That sounds like a fake name. John Crow. Like, I feel like that's his alter...
Game of Thrones?
That's part of it. But it sounds like his alter ego. He's like Jon Snow, but he's John Crow.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like by day he does English localization lead, and by night, well, to be fair, we know how Koji talks about his hours, so probably still writes scenario stuff at night.
Yeah.
He just sounds really cool while he's doing it. And that happened this Saturday, and There's some things there that I never thought I'd be discussing on a podcast.
Bunny suits?
Oh, listen, Slyh, why do you have to spoil it? That's at the end of that was at the end of the thing. That was a message from Yoshida himself. That thing. It's
a takeaway.
It's a takeaway. I mean, there's actually a lot of things to take away from it. So let's just quickly go over some of the things, some of the important details that were covered. Probably the detail people talked about to me the most was both the character development and the way that localization is determined, goes from direct translation to the way it actually ends up in game, and also a few other details. But the one that I saw and the one that most people have been memeing on was developing a detailed background for each character of the game. Now, they specifically used 4 characters for this. They used Hien, Gosetsu, Yugiri, and Yatsuyu. And
the new.
What happened?
The new characters.
Yeah.
Well,
You really confused me when you said that right there. And I think that's the second time this show I've been confused. But they basically talk about the process of developing these characters and trying to fit them into the world and the story. And they give us some information I don't know that we personally needed to know about them, but goes into the creative process. Slyh, come on. Some of this, I went over what the stuff was with you before.
I have a feeling this will come up in ARZavia for some random reason.
You know what? You bring up a great point, because I would totally have forgotten to even consider this for ARZavia, and now I'm even happier I didn't put it this week. Because I actually committed most of it to memory, only because it's so short. So at first they said they have like certain things like basic information: age, gender, race, job, personal history, personalities, different speech patterns, and their skills and tastes, etc. So those are the key things that they went over. There's more things than that. But then they started going into some specifics about those individual characters. And it goes from like, okay, that's interesting, to
why?
What?
Just why? Why? Why did we need to know this?
That's
where it goes to.
It's the thing is, we never needed to. That's why they never told us. That's like literally, if it weren't for this panel, they would have never told us half these things, because they only use them to develop the characters, and then they're not like prevalent storylines or anything for those characters in the game itself. But like when they start off with how skilled they are in combat, so you have like Hien, who's a master swordsman. And he would even win in a duel against Gosetsu, even though he had been trained and had lost him a bunch of times. And he lost so many times, in fact, that Samurai will always hold a winning record, apparently. And then you have Gosetsu, who's a veteran of countless struggles, whose deeds on the battlefield are known to Doman and Imperial alike. That sounds like, whatever. That seems like information.
Reasonable.
Those are reasonable things to know about those characters, Then we get into what kind of food they like and don't like. And once again, they used Hien, who actually prefers uncooked meat, but specifically not like red meat, but fish and horse. And horse. He likes horse. Never had horse, personally. Just
never want to.
Never had it. So I don't know what raw horse tastes like. And then he dislikes mushrooms.
That's reasonable. I know people who dislike mushrooms.
I think that's his reason's a little weird, though. His reason's not, I don't like the way they taste. It's he ate raw mushrooms when he was young because he thought they might taste good like uncooked meat, and it basically made him sick for a week. So, I mean, I've had that. You ever eaten something and you get sick off of it, and then when you upchuck, it still kind of tastes like that, so you never want to eat it again? I've had that with a few foods.
Yeah, I've had that.
Italian sausage and peppers is my number one thing I won't touch anymore. Because
really?
Yeah, I got sick off of it, and I won't eat it anymore. I'll eat sausage, just not specifically Italian sausage and peppers, which like every catering company in New Jersey does.
Jersey does, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can't do it. Can't do it anymore. I'll go for the.
So you can't do like an Italian sausage like sandwich or anything.
No, can't do it. Can't do it. Wow. That's my food. That's my food that I can't do. So that's Hien's experience. Then we have Yugiri, who just likes cooked rice in green tea soup, and doesn't dislike anything.
Yeah,
doesn't dislike anything in particular. She's not.
I mean, that kind of speaks to Yugiri as a person, because she's mysterious. And then, like, she
keep going.
She I guess, like, she seems so stoic. So this would be something someone stoic would like. Like, I just like rice. What do you dislike? Not much.
It's funny you'd say that because Gosetsu's pretty much the same. He just likes plain white rice. I actually am someone who likes just plain white rice.
But Gosetsu has more personality than Yugiri, I feel.
I don't know.
So
Do you really have much of a personality when your main dislike is bread? It feels like a very anti-personal thing.
He doesn't like sandwiches.
His reason for dislike... Yeah, that means he doesn't like sandwiches. His reason for disliking bread's weird. It gets hard and stale with time, and it reminds him of his time fighting with the Garleans. I guess just because he was eating so much bread on the battlefield and it was stale.
Yeah, and
there you go.
Being on the battlefield for some time and then, not being able to eat for some time and getting back and your bread stale. Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah. And Yatsuyu has no preferences when it comes to food because she barely ate when she was a kid. And she doesn't really care about food, but other than sweets, apparently. It's secret, but not so secret anymore because it's literally the only thing she'll eat, as we've seen showcased in the 4.2 story.
Dongo.
Dongo. She likes that dongo, son. Yeah. Anyway. Then alcohol. And I like Hien and Gosetsu again because they can and will drink to excess. But apparently, Hien's a happy drunk, and Gosetsu, when he goes from tipsy to drunk, he goes from peachy to weepy. So he's a crier.
Yeah, preachy.
He's that friend who has like something to say for everything when you're like an hour or two into the night. But then like a few hours in, when everything's winding down, he just walks up just like, yo man, listen, I just want to tell you, like, you mean so much to me.
I love you, man.
I love you. He's an I love you drunk.
Yeah.
He's an I love you drunk. That's the kind of drunk that he is. And then you have Yugiri, who doesn't drink, so she has no preference. Once again, quite stoic. Has to keep her cool. Keep the cool face on. There you go. And Yatsuyu drinks, but never gets drunk. And the main reason is she was forced to drink for her, quote, former profession, unquote, which involved a lot of dongo.
How you doing?
How you doing?
It's my baby. She can hold her liquor.
Yeah, that's how you know that she's one of Sly's girls. That's how you know. It's all about holding the liquor. Couldn't do with Yugiri. You couldn't go out with Yugiri. She don't drink. That's it. That reminds me of one time I was at a Twitch party at a PAX West, and Brown Man, who used to be at Achievement Hunter, was there, and he's just sitting in the corner not talking to anyone. I realized he didn't drink. He doesn't drink alcohol, and he was at a party where everyone was drinking, and it was just weird. Because everyone's... I would feel weird if I wasn't a drinker. I was in a place where every single person I was with was drinking and I wasn't. It's a very different emotion in the room. So you can't... That's it. It's hard to go out to those places. It's hard to have fun.
Understandable.
And then we got to the one that I saw on Twitter before any of the other ones.
Oh, yeah.
Love and romance. Oh, boy. Hien likes cute girls. But he's taken to heart the words of his father, a woman you can love for life is the one and only you should take as your wife. Hien's a man of honor there. Gosetsu lost his wife and daughter, so he doesn't care about love anymore. He just serves Doma. Now, this specifically...
However... Yatsuyu.
You just skipped past Yugiri. You're not even...
No, I'm just saying, like, in regards to Gosetsu.
No, I don't think that has anything... I don't think that's a romantic thing. I feel like...
I don't think it's a romantic thing either. I think he sees her more as a daughter than anything.
Yeah, if anything. He wants to pay for what he did over all those years.
Yeah.
And what his country did over all those years. I was gonna say you skip it. I know Yugiri's been kind of boring to you so far, but damn, I was like, you skip right ahead. Speaking of which, Yugiri once again says she feels she owes her parents a grandchild, but she does not care right now. She's fighting. Boy. And then Yatsuyu doesn't care, has no sort of interest in love or romance, whether it be with a man or a woman. She doesn't care.
She's desensitized.
Yep.
Because of her experience. So.
Now, the reason why I saw that one on Twitter among all the other ones is everyone started making charts about these characters, specifically with that last one regarding what, like, I don't even remember the context. I just remember seeing them in the moment, and then what happened is I would look at the tweet and I'd be like, okay, what the hell? And then I would look above the tweet, and in small, tiny letters, it would say, Foldosaurus Rex has retweeted this. And that was how I obtained that information.
Of course.
Of course. So, what can I really say about that? That's how I obtained it. So, thanks, Fold. And then... I can't believe... And then what else was there? And then... I like how this is kind of out of order, but they did go over who John Crow is and what things he's worked on, as well as Ishikawa. They did do that. I'm just looking at these slides in order, and then they did translation stuff, talking about how there's certain things that are translated that what they look like when directly translated versus how they end up, and that was interesting. Like I said, it's peaches to some people, not necessarily peaches to everyone.
To you. I'm
just saying, I don't feel that awkward reading them out loud. It's what the community did with that information that got weird. That's what made me start to feel like peaches.
Yeah.
They also went over voicing those characters, and then finally, probably so I had a meet and greet at PAX East at 1:30 Pacific. 1:30 Eastern. And this was at 12:30 Eastern, so literally right as it ended, my meet and greet was beginning. So people came from the panel and were asking me if I saw it. The next thing is pretty much something I think every single person at my meet and greet asked me. So did you see the panel? No. Did you hear about anything? And I said, I heard about a thing or two. Did you see the bunny suits? Male bunny suits after all these years. That's the thing. That's the thing that followed me here. I'll get them on the screen in a second here. But,
you don't have to.
I mean, no. I feel like I owe it to them.
No.
I feel like I owe it to them. Here we go. Give me this. I'm just gonna pull it up over Troy. There we go. There you go. Got some real bulge action going on up in here. Oh, there's also a picture on Reddit. Is there a picture of the back? Yes, there is.
There's a picture of the back in the same tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That was how it. Yoshida specifically wanted them to bring this up because this will be in 4.3x. Those tails, though. There you go.
This is content, ladies and gentlemen.
This is content. To be fair, again, every single person asked me if I saw this. I feel like Chippendales is going to go out of business once they see Final Fantasy XIV, They'll just have to reenact it here. There you go. Never asked for it, but fuck it. So, yeah, that's coming in 4.3x, guys. Enjoy! Teaser for the live letter. That's all the live letter is going to be about.
Now, the question is, will that be free or mod station?
Well, I'm assuming Gold Saucer, because that's where they are. Isn't that where it's available now? Isn't the bunny suit in the Gold Saucer right now? It's just female only? Pretty sure it is. I don't think they're going to differentiate. I mean, you probably have to get the male set separately, but you'll probably still just be MGP like the other set is.
Gonna be so good. Oh my god.
This, by the way, in case you didn't know, for Eadric, this is the new champion belt, is this entire outfit.
I'm gonna sack so fucking hard, bro. I'm going to pass on every fucking question. Congratulations, Mike. I just want to go ahead and congratulate you on your win for Eadric. Before it even happens.
I can't wait. I'm glad I get to unanimously decide the prizes now.
Yeah, you get to decide the prize. We won't have a belt anymore. We won't have the Subligar. We'll need a new graphic.
I'll concede.
Because we already had the Louis Suave graphic with the Subligar. We need one of him in a bunny suit.
No. You know what? I'll concede this. All right, so you can keep the Subligar. You just have to wear all the other pieces that aren't the legs.
Yeah, I'm gonna sack so hard.
And we're gonna redesign the Louis Suave to have just like the bunny ears and the vest and everything. So now that that's been on everyone's screen for the last 3 minutes, I'm gonna swap it back, and I'm gonna click the X button to close that window so it doesn't surprise me later. Because I've done that to myself before. You ever open a tab and you forget it's open and then you find it and it just
an accident
just opens up just something you thought you'd left behind.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it. That's what came from PAX East. There are also foam samurai swords, which represents their DPS pretty well, and as well as that's not true. That was a joke. I really wanted to make the joke, but
funny because it's true.
It's not that true. I've seen some pretty solid samurai deeps. They're doing good.
Oh my god.
Their raid DPS contribution compared to other jobs.
Oh man.
You know the thing is though, I didn't originally think of that joke. I'll be honest. I saw it on it's either Reddit or Twitter. I read somewhere where I think you know what it was? I posted a picture of the swords and someone replied to it. I could probably find the tweet right now.
Yeah, it was on Twitter. I saw the swords on Twitter.
Well, it's not even so much the swords. I think I posted the swords as a picture, and somebody replied to it and made that joke, and I was like, I like that. I'm gonna use that. So I want to. Yeah, here's it. Here, let's see. Somebody asked if we can have one. Grab me a foam sword. Here was the exact tweet. Deals slightly more damage than 4.2 Sam. I'm just saying. I'm just reading. I mean, the other thing was instead of Pazuzu, it was Paxuzu. That was another one.
Yeah.
So
that was another one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. I was just reading that and I liked it. And then there was also the I Beat Byakko shirt. Man, did I watch some attempted Byakko kills. that was rough to watch at times. There weren't that many losses. But I saw one or two of them that ended in losses, and that was tough to watch. I saw someone who had never played. It was obviously the ones that lost were mostly full of people who had never played before, like 6 or 7 people.
Right.
One of them was a guy who had never played before, and he was trying to play Red Mage, and he was hard casting just Ver Arrow like 9 times in a row. Like he would hard cast Ver Arrow, and then Swift, and then it would be also the fast one he would cast. It would be like Ver Arrow, and they'd look at the white mana gauge and it'd be like at 90, and then he'd go do whatever it is, Ver the other one. Yeah, whatever the other one is. So yeah.
Can we get that on a shirt? Ver the other one.
I mean, to be at that point, like I feel like the way I'm remembering it right now is probably about as much as the person understood how the job worked. So I feel like it's a pretty accurate representation. So
wow.
Though I saw a few groups of people who had never played. I also saw groups of were like half people had never played who cleared it in one shot. So I saw both sides of the spectrum. It's pretty entertaining. I was just standing there in the middle of the booth, like literally in the middle where like Shannon and I was just like circling around looking at people.
You're just walking around.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Okay. I see you.
I'd be like, that's unfortunate. And I remember one of them, 2 people who were walking past, they said, "Hey, Mr. Happy, what's up? Thanks for the videos." And then they had a group that was mostly people that didn't play, and yeah, I felt bad.
Yeah. Feels bad,
man. Unfortunate. But it is what it is, so there you go. Okay, so that's it for PAX East. Now, we have a live letter this Saturday, Sly.
Yes, we do.
And it's exciting because we haven't. It always like the part 1 live letter always feels like it's so like it's been so long, but it really hasn't. I think it's been 11. Yeah. It's been like 10 or 11 weeks. We've had 4.2.
Like time has really flown by.
Yeah, honestly. Eureka helps.
Yeah, it does.
The last few weeks have flown by pretty quick thanks to Eureka. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a sign of good content.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't look to be in complete agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, regardless of our emotions towards Eureka, since we've spoken about it quite a lot.
Quite a bit. Yeah, exactly.
Quite a bit. I wanna get some predictions because I don't know about you, but everyone's been asking me. So, what do you think will happen in the live letter this Saturday? Saturday at 2:30 a.m. Pacific. I want to say. I have the internet. I'll just look, but I'm 99% sure it's 2:30 in the morning. On
right.
Yeah. Well, if that's 5:30 for you, you fucking guy, you.
Right.
Far worse for me. Yeah, 2:30 a.m. Pacific. Subject to change.
Easier for you. I'd rather it be.
I go to sleep. I go to sleep early for this. I don't stay up for it because I got to stream afterwards. So I go to sleep at like 4 in the fucking afternoon instead of staying up till 2:30.
I don't stay up for it. Good lord. I try to get some sleep, but I don't like to wake up fucking early for a live letter. That's my thing.
Well, the thing is, you could wake up early and then go the fuck back to sleep. I can't.
For what? 3 more hours and then get ready for S&T Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
You get 3 hours now, 3 hours later, you Gucci.
Yeah. Okay.
I would much prefer 5:30. I'm just saying, I would much prefer 5:30 in the morning, personally.
That'd be 8:30. I mean, 8:30 would be reasonable, so yeah, I guess. Meh. So where do you want to touch on first in regards to live letter story?
Well, story is kind of hard to go about because at that point we're making predictions based on the spoiler cast that we had a few weeks ago, and I feel like we kind of already touched on that. I'd say the only thing realistically that people are debating main story wise, if there will be predictions about, is if there will be a trial for the main scenario, something like Chrysalis or Steps of Faith, or just a trial reminiscent of Nidhogg, I guess would probably be the best example. Or if we'll just go to we'll only have trials for the Four Lords and nothing else. I'm 50-50 on this. I don't want to say no, but my explanation takes a while. So what do you think? Are we getting a main scenario trial? Sorry, that would be my creative cloud.
Yes, we are.
Noise. You think so?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I think we are. Nice. Now, as far as whether it'll be a Four Lords trial or not, because again, are we still doing the alternating, East and West?
So I think 4.3 is absolutely going to be about what's happening, the trade of the hostages between Doma and the Imperials. So we're definitely sticking to
so we're still East.
We're definitely sticking to the East on this one.
Based off of that, I'd say it would be a Four Lords.
So keep in mind, if it's Four Lords, it's not going to be part of the main scenario because that is a side story.
It's going to be something. Yeah, it's a side story, but yeah, we'll and as far as a main scenario question, like
a trial for the main scenario, something that is reminiscent of Nidhogg.
We would only get that during the West.
You think okay? So you're saying that you're not ruling it out altogether for the expansion, but that you don't think while we're dealing with Kugane that we're going to get a trial.
No. Like with Kugane, they'll leave the trial to the Four Lords, and that's just side story. But in regards to the West, yeah, we'll definitely get a new trial, a story based trial in the West in Alamigo and everything.
So I'm 50-50 on this. So there's still the major debate about whether there'll be a 4.6 or not. With the timing of the live letters being a little later than usual, there's room for like another month or two before the expansion launch, which would leave room for a 4.6. But I have my own issues with that I could talk about a little bit later. I feel like if we get a 4.6, the answer is definitely yes. I think this will be the one we get a main scenario. Without it, I'm not so keen because the only other way it happens if Sieryu and Suzaku are both one fight. Like it's two of the lords in a single. Like for example,
I don't like that idea. I don't like. I'm
not a big fan either.
Shoehorning another like primal onto it.
We haven't really ever had a primal fight that was 2-on-1 though. So I mean, you can consider Thornton. I guess the closest thing to that. You can consider
Ultimate to be that too, but that's a different.
But that's not. Yeah, I mean, Ultimate is basically a primal fight. I mean, Bahamut's a primal, so there's really it kind of functions the same way. But I mean, the only two ways I see us getting a main scenario trial at all this expansion is if we get 4.6 or if two of the Four Lords are part of a single encounter. which I'm not opposed to because I mean
I'm not opposed to it. Like as a challenge, I'm not opposed to it, but as an instance itself, like per the story of the Four Lords, I just wouldn't be amenable to it.
I wouldn't be that. There'd have to be some damn good explanation, which after Byakko, I wouldn't be surprised if they could come up with something. And yeah, the chat says, to be clear, they aren't technically primals. They are auspices. We're just used to calling them primals because
yeah, exactly.
That's we always say every patch we get a primal. We don't even use it to designate the lore thing of what a primal is. We just it's our trial. Technically, the trial is the accurate one.
Yeah.
So there's also the possibility that another one of the Four Lords is related to a dungeon. That is another possibility, like Genbu. Since Genbu was in, I'm averse to that idea. Like I don't think it's a good option. Genbu was fine in the dungeon, but Genbu seems to say he's the weakest of the three, so I feel like it's only really fitting for him to be a dungeon boss. But I mean, we've had other beings like Hraesvelgr as a dungeon boss, and those are fights. That's like someone I wouldn't have imagined.
That's true. That's true. And I didn't even think of Hraesvelgr as its own separate fight or entity at the time, and I really wasn't thinking about it after. So I'm
just waiting for ultimate Midgard Stormer that has Hraesvelgr in it.
Like as a part of the fight, or kind of like the Phoenix mechanic, maybe
something like that. So like we're seeing a few other things in the chat here, so we might as well touch on those. Let's see. We had a Dungeon Nidhogg when he was at his weakest.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel the main reason why I don't see another one of the Four Lords being a dungeon boss is what's the story. Genbu wasn't possessed by his Aramitama. He had basically overcome that, and the remaining three are close to being overcome by the Aramitama, so that makes them a lot more volatile. Right. And it's not that it can't happen, it's that I feel like if Genbu's establishing himself as the weakest one, I feel like that sets the precedent for the remaining Four Lords to all be trials, including Koryu, who we already know will absolutely exist. And I hope that's a spectacular fight, because I hope all four of the auspices are present in some way in that encounter. They fucking better be. They better not just be in the cutscene prior. They better be like all up in that. Like I better see Byakko doing some crazy shit in that fight. Or make it like Yogg-Saron and fucking Wrath of the Lich King with the Keepers and whatnot. We're also seeing the possibility, people saying, we could technically get a main scenario trial and a Four Lord. Like we did with, I guess if you look back to 2.5, you had Chrysalis, Steps of Faith, and Odin. Would be the closest example we had, which Odin did not count as an extreme to me. He was like a low quality primal to me. So I don't know. He was like, to me, he was like about on the same level as Chrysalis and Steps of Faith at the time. Maybe a little harder.
But doesn't that go against, not really go against, but in terms of development time of patches and everything. Yeah. Do you honestly think that would be possible to, do a Four Lords as well as a main scenario?
So under some circumstances, I would believe it. But the only reason why 2.5 it went as it did is Odin was one fight. It wasn't two fights. Chrysalis and Steps of Faith. We had such a different development process and such a different focus back then regarding what was being worked on. And those are all super not interesting fights. I think the main thing people are expecting is like Nidhogg to get a normal and an extreme. I'm more along the lines, I wouldn't be surprised to just see a normal mode, but I would be surprised to see an extreme, at least in the near future, for whatever we get. And I don't know, they've been, with what happened with Hildebrand, where they had the trials, and they said that motivating people to do them was a bit of a problem. Or getting people to help other players with it later down the line was a bit of a problem, and why they've been so averse to it up to now. I don't know, I feel like that mentality is still feeding the whole use of the single-player instances versus actually doing a trial. I fully expect there to be like a super spectacular single-player instance. I'm just not super optimistic about a main scenario trial.
Right. And by the way, thank you for bringing up Hildebrand, because I still haven't done it.
I haven't done it either. I've heard a lot of people say it's great. Like I've heard people saying that while it's short and not really content,
Right.
that it's it's written like the 3.4 one with he's getting away slowly, but he's getting away. So it's quality.
So that brand of comedy. So yeah, okay, all right, I might do it.
If it's, and I said back in 3.4, if it's 3.4 quality writing, then I'm okay with not having trials. That was what I said back then. So that's why I actually kind of want to get to it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, so ultimately, verdict, you don't think main scenario trial in 4.3, so none of that getting revealed this week. I am on that side. As much as I think there are possibilities, they're not where my allegiance is, so we both believe there will be no main scenario trial revealed as part of the live letter coming this Saturday.
Prove us wrong, Square Enix.
Prove us wrong. We want to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
More trials is not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. In other words, single player instance, aka an error occurred during event movement. Womp, womp, womp. There you go. Okay, so in terms of side stories, Hildebrand continuing. I don't expect them to say much more than hey, it's continuing, and then to just pass it along. Probably 4.35 because they seem to want to put Hildebrand in like the mid patch cycle.
Patches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any other side stories like Scholasticate that they have planned? That I think as much as it ties in with the crafting beast tribe, I feel like what's going to be replacing that idea is kind of the Doman Enclave and exploring that a little bit.
The Doman Enclave.
Yeah.
Weren't there talks about the one Lupine in Yangsha? What was his name? God,
I don't remember, and this is why I would prefer not to have done Aerzivia this week.
Exactly. But yeah, the one Lupine in Yangsha, like a side story involving him again.
Yeah, I feel like those kind of side story quests. I guess I think I'm thinking more thematic and less like just a side chain. Like when I think of Scholastica, even though it took a really long time between integrations, I think of the over several patch story that it told. And I think
and that's what I'm thinking it's going to. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be.
I'm not confident that they'd give him that kind of I wouldn't be surprised to see them add a new quest line to explain his story or to involve him in some way with certain other things that are happening in the other stories. Right. I just don't think they'd give him like a dedicated quest line for that personally. So so we both agree Hildebrand.
Hildebrand, Patch. What else? Now, what are you thinking for side story wise? Like
side story, I think the Doman Enclave, and even though it's technically
is the main thing,
it's technically it's the crafting beast tribe. Like that's where you're going to do your 60 to 70 crafter leveling if you've been lazy like me. I feel like that's going to be a very important piece that's going to tie in with the main story. We already know there's going to be some main story characters popping up in the rebuilding of the Doman Enclave. I'd say my only other prediction to put out there is the Doman Enclave going to become our new Rhalgr's Reach as we rebuild it? I think it will, personally.
Nah.
I think it will. So this is where we differ.
I honestly don't. I think they kind of want to do something with Rhalgr's. They just haven't yet.
I don't think they do.
Rhalgr's was supposed to be our Idleshire.
I mean, it is. It is. It just doesn't get rebuilt.
Is, but it doesn't have that feeling. And I think, like you say, the Doman Enclave would feel like an Idleshire. But the thing is, as opposed to Idleshire, we got access to Rhalgr's Reach really early, Stormblood.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. That's why I'm kind of opposed to this. Like, Rhalgr's is our hub. It's been our hub.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we got it really early, and we didn't get Idleshire until we got to the hinterlands.
I feel like there's a good explanation for that, though. I think they learned their lesson with both Mordona and Idleshire in regards to by the end of your main story quest, you're here. So a lot of the times people get there and it's just kind of whatever, no one's here kind of thing.
Right.
And so when it came to the new one, integrating it as early as possible along with Kugane was probably to keep it bustling and alive. It also gets the level 70 players hanging out in a place where level 60 to 69 players will regularly find themselves as well. So you kind of are familiar with it all the way up to level 70, and then they just add in the new NPCs to make it seem like it's developed and it's no longer a hiding place, but a connecting point between Alamigo and the rest of the Eorzea Alliance. I don't think they ever try to do anything more with Rhalgrs. I think the way it looks now is the way it will always look. The only issue I have with the Doman Enclave becoming more Dona or an Idleshire is that they've already put all these NPCs in Rhalgrs reach, things like Omega and some of the new and certain new quests, that all of a sudden uprooting us and sending us there prior to a new expansion might be a little strange, but still. That's how I feel. But so that's where we differ. I think Doman Enclave will be a new endgame hub while we're rebuilding it. I mean, because otherwise, what the fuck am I going to go back there for? I'm going to rebuild this shit and then just piece the fuck out. It's got its own aetherite too, you know?
Right.
So that's how I feel about that. And you say, nope, sticking with Rhalgrs, and they should do something more to develop it.
Yeah, they just put too much into Rhalgrs already. And like whenever we go back for a new patch, and there's something always in Rhalgrs,
right?
Whether it be Omega or anything. There's like even just like a general main story or side story quest. There's something always in Rhalgrs.
The new stuff on the Tombstone NPCs also, like Kugane has a lot of the stuff Rhalgrs have, but it doesn't have any of the places to spend endgame currency.
Right.
So that's the big thing.
They utilize the hell out of it though. That's what I'm saying. They just utilize the hell out of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's where we differ on that one. Okay.
Yeah.
So next is we get one new dungeon this patch. It's a reminder, it is an odd-numbered patch. This will get added to the expert roulette, so it's 3 dungeons again until the following patch. I still disagree with the way they ended up doing that, but you know, it's better than it being 2 the whole expansion, I suppose.
Right.
So I think there's almost no doubt in my mind this dungeon is going to be part of the main story. I guess the only question is, what the hell would it be?
We can't even like predict that.
I almost want to think it's going to be it's either going to be where the exchange actually takes place with the hostages, and it'll lead into the single player instance or trial or main scenario trial, or I actually have the thought that the tomb of Hien's father, Cyan Indoma, yeah,
and I was going to say Indoma, like. When you said where the exchange is going to take place, do we know for a fact
that hasn't been? I don't think they do it in his father's tomb though.
Yeah, they don't do it in his tomb though, but they will do it somewhere in Doma, right? You think?
It could also be Doma Castle Hard, but I don't think they will. I think they'll.
That's probably next patch.
I think they'll run the route of doing an original dungeon because they did with Scala in 4.1. So I think this is one of those things that's almost impossible to predict, but it's gonna have I feel like it's gonna have Imperial enemies. Regardless of what it is, I feel like this is gonna be an Imperial themed dungeon.
Agreed. So Magitech bosses.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. I'm feeling that. Maybe I don't know which nostalgic ones we haven't used yet, but I have a feeling we'll see something.
Or new ones kind of central to Doma. So the Magitech. Kind of like what we see in Kugane Castle.
Maybe. Those guys, yeah, but we've seen them in Kugane Castle, so they're not as impressive of a thing.
Yeah, they're not as impressive, but variations on the Magitech we see.
One of the big,
like, Eastern theme.
One of the big things with 4.3 going into 4.4 eventually is that they are starting to try and prep us for the expansion. So events that happen and eventually are teased at for 4.4, things that happen in 4.3 and teased towards 4.4 should be gearing us towards that. I wouldn't be surprised to see some new enemy models pop up in the dungeon and then become more, I guess, regular enemy models that we see going into the expansion.
Right.
Yeah. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think the dungeon is impossible to give like a full-on prediction, but I guess the theme of being something more imperial based.
We can definitely allude to that a little bit, but without knowing anything, we can't predict what dungeon unless it's like you said, it's a hard mode. Then we can really get into predictions.
Baelsar's wall hard mode. There you go. Listen, I'm not going to rule it out. I just think it's going to be an original dungeon. I don't think it's going to be a hard mode. I think only hard modes are going to... The last hard mode we're going to see is in 4.4, which we'll save that for a prediction one later, because if I do some research, I could probably figure out what dungeon will be 4.4 hard mode. Granted, I didn't expect us to get some all hard mode when we got it back in 3.5, and I really didn't expect... what was the other one I didn't expect? I didn't expect Fractal hard mode. Yeah, I really didn't expect. That caught me way off guard, Fractal hard mode.
A lot of people.
And it was a great dungeon.
Yeah, pretty good. Still love running it to this day. Like every roulette I do, I like running it. I don't get tired of it.
Don't worry, it'll be Never Reap. Never Reap hard mode.
No, it won't. Nothing will be Never Reap. I'm sorry.
No, Never Reap is never
go back down that path. No.
Would you say you could never go back down that path?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. All right. So that puts us. Let's go up the ladder then. We both seem to agree that there's going to be a 4 lords encounter in this one.
Right.
So we have Suzaku and Seiryu left. That would be the south and the west. Now, I saw somebody with some. I think it was Splota had some solid logic with guessing. I think they said that Genbu was the north, Byakko was the east. That would each one of them is tied to a direction. So if we're going that, we're
wow.
Even though
you say that shit,
when we they said if you go clockwise around the compass, which is dumb because it's not a fucking clock, it's a compass. That south would be next theoretically, and therefore Byakko's west. I'm sorry, I went backwards. Byakko's west, but either way, it ends up at south next.
Is Byakko west?
I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking of Sky from Final Fantasy XI because they are northwest, south, and east. And I can tell you right now that fucking Byakko is in the northwest side of the map. So he's definitely... If he's east, they done fucked up. So, unless the north was where you entered, which I don't think it was.
No.
All right. So, either way, it ends up, at that point, counterclockwise, ending up at south. So, I forget which one is south. I think south is Seiryu. Refer to the Azure Dragoon. Let's see. I don't
south
care. South is? Is it? I'm trying to Google it real quick. No, Seiryu is the east. I just checked. He's the king of the East Sea, which would mean Suzaku would theoretically be next if we're actually going to follow this crazy
so
theory.
Suzaku's south.
Suzaku is south, yes.
Suzaku.
Or what are you looking at?
Weird.
What's weird? He's the Vermilion Bird, also known as... Where the fuck is his full name? The southern part, represented by the Jinangu Shrine in the southern part of Kyoto. You can also literally just look at the world map. Is that what you're looking at right now? The one that has all 4 of them on the map?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That helps. Okay. Yeah, so Suzaku being the south. So which one are you going with? Are we getting Seiryu or Suzaku?
Suzaku.
You're gonna go with the counterclockwise theory?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. The Vermilion Bird. I don't know, dragons. Like, Seiryu's a dragon. So, or he's a serpent at the very least, whereas Suzaku's a bird. Yeah, you know what? Regardless of that theory, I will kind of throw my hat in at Suzaku. There's nothing to real. You know what? I almost feel like I need to reread the text because I don't think I'm pretty sure they don't say which of the 4 lords we're fighting next in the story itself. Pretty sure they don't, but you know. I almost want to double check.
I'm keeping. I was about to change it, but I'm keeping Suzaku. Yeah.
Gonna keep Suzaku. All right.
Yeah.
I hope they still have they're as buff as Buff Yako was.
Buff Yako.
Genbro.
I mean,
Buff Yako.
Genbro didn't have gains. He was just fucking old.
He was Gainsboo.
he wasn't Gains Genbro. He was old.
Fine. Then we can go with Genbro. He's still a bro. He's definitely a bro.
He's our bro.
So there you go. And then
no more games.
No more gains, just bro.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Suzaku is the one. And again, maybe they throw us for a loop and there's a main scenario trial and Suzaku's not there. Who knows?
Maybe.
It's there. It's a possibility. I won't rule it out. It's just not what I think is going to happen.
Right.
Now let's move up the ladder one more time. Ultimate. They've already confirmed they will tell us what the next Ultimate is on Saturday. Now, we've hit this topic a few times.
So many times.
So this is our last chance to lock in our predictions for Ultimate.
Or change.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you can change it, but no matter what you say here, you're locking it in. Can't change it at this point.
Yeah. I'll allow you to go first.
I'm sticking with the Warring Triad.
No.
I'm just saying, that's it. Locked in. Is that your final answer? Yes.
See, I was saying the Warring Triad before. I brought it up so many times, but I don't even think it's a possibility now.
Okay. Develop that thought.
One, because they're a little more recent. Two, even though it doesn't allude to it in the Kefka fight, we kind of go there based off history. So I don't think they would go there like this soon. Maybe for the next Ultimate fight after this one, but not this one. As far as this Ultimate fight is concerned,
I'm just gonna say right now, if you, after saying that it's too recent, if you then say Alexander, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I'm not saying Alexander.
Good.
I'm gonna go Ultima.
You're gonna go down the Ultima route, the Ultima, but all 6 of the Realm Reborn primals, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a pretty common guess. I've seen a lot of people go down that route.
Yeah, a few people saying Odin. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, Odin's tough. I don't know how they're gonna eventually do.
Like, because
a lot of people,
he's been a fate. He's been a primal. Like,
it's not even that. It's Odin on his own. I have a hard time getting my head around, like, because I don't know.
They would have to introduce a lot to it to make it an ultimate encounter. That's the only thing.
I mean, Pale Rider and White Rider are just fucking clones of them. Why don't we just throw them in there? Fuck it.
No.
I'm kidding.
No, there has to be some kind of lore reason to throw them in there. No.
Ultimate's a make-believe fight. No, there doesn't.
I mean, if you want to go down that route,
I'm just kidding. I don't actually want to go down this route. I was just throwing it out there because there's like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you were really feeling froggy, you could throw in all the riders and make that an ultimate encounter.
There's that fucking dungeon from. There's that boss, the first boss of Amdapor hard mode. Was it Amdapor? Yeah, the first Amdapor Keep hard mode, where it's literally, that was our first Odin clone. I think that was an Odin clone that was literally in the same patch we got Odin.
Yeah.
When was Amdapor Keep hard mode? Wasn't that 2.5? Didn't they do it as that and Weeping and not Weeping City? A Wanderer's Palace is like the final
Wanderer's
one.
Palace.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a clone fight like that. Just make it all the riders, like Pale Rider, like all the riders. Like
that'd just be fucking
horsemen.
Just make it. Yeah, there you go. If we can get the other 3 horsemen and Odin's one of them, I'm down. But until we get unless we get 3 more, I'm not okay.
And just make them, give them unique mechanics and everything. Yeah, I'll be down for that. Sure. But yeah, I'm going Ultima.
All right, so there's a lot of guesses in the chat right now. A lot of people saying things like CT, Ozma. Still Titan being a guess, Gilgamesh plus Gilgamesh, Enkidu, Ultros, Typhon being one of them.
That would be a good one.
We have an Odin, we have an Alexander guess, we have all of the main generals, like, you know, the Legatuses and all that. Yeah,
that would be good.
So I'm just going through all these guesses. Ultima's, of course, another one. Thornton is one that's thrown out there. Moggle Mog, that's not happening. But anyway, Moggle Mog is in there. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a second choice. If it isn't your first choice, what is your second choice?
God, see, because of this, I would actually have to have a third. So
if you want to throw out a third, you know what? These are going to be your next 3 guesses for the next 3 Ultimates. Go for it. Okay,
so my first and foremost would be Ultimate. Second, Ozma would be reasonable because we've seen footage of it at FanFest. Even though like nothing's come of it, this would be the time. Third, just out of wishful thinking, the generals.
Okay. So those you like all three of those guesses?
I like all three of them. I'm hedging my bets here. It has to be one of them, right? At least
it seems you're committed to the idea of it being in a Realm Reborn era boss is ultimately the theme I'm getting here.
Right. Like, I feel like Heaven's Word was kind of, I wouldn't say too soon, but yeah, like we've just done Bahamut, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to do a Realm Reborn again.
There's also, I see a few more guesses here. The Alliance Leaders, the Warriors of Darkness as another one. Warriors of Darkness never got a trial in the first place is the only thing I'm having a hard
they were
time.
just more of an instance, yeah.
To be fair, that not all of them necessarily had to have trials, but they're one of those ones that doesn't, they never even fight them with other players present. Like, at least with Westwind and the Generals, they're part of Castrum Meridianum or Praetorium or Cape Westwind.
Now that the Generals, in regards to the Generals, would we fight Livia in her Magitech or Livia proper?
I think she'd be in her Magitech, I just don't think it'd be the same way. I don't think he'd fight it, like, by fucking loading cannons.
Right.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few options. One that it's not my second choice, but one that I'm still saving for way later down the line is the Midgardsormr and his children one. That
would be a good one.
I'm saving that till after we get Vertra and Asdaja, though. I don't think we would see Midgardsormr and just Trace Velgard and Nidhogg, because your girl Tiamat hasn't done anything. And what's his face? Ratatoskr.
Free Big T.
Yeah.
Free Big T.
Free Big T. She could be free if she wanted to be. And Ratatoskr, again, we have nothing. We have nothing there. So I guess I only have a second guess, and my second guess is actually probably Ultima. I think that if it's whatever it is, I just don't think it'll be Alexander.
That's where our guess kind of coincide.
Yeah.
That's where our guess coincide. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I just want to avoid is Alexander. It's not that
I agree.
It's not that I want to avoid it. Like, it's going to happen at some point. I think we're both... I think Alexander is the 5.1. I'll go that far into the future. I think Alexander would be the 5.1 ultimate. And...
So we would fight, what? Cruise Chaser, Oppressor...
I would almost imagine, like, fucking what's, like, the fucking manipulator throwing you into the room with the... Like, I don't know. Like, I imagine going through it gauntlet style like you do with Alexander being the ultimate.
Right.
Man.
That I could really see as a just lost my train of thought. But yeah, multi-tiered encounter.
Yeah.
Like you just gauntlet. You just go through every single one of them, and then the culmination, like they all
I think there'd be more than 3 bosses present. I think they'd have to go with Brute Justice, Cruise Chaser, and Alexander.
You have to.
But I don't think you stop there. I think there's too many bosses there people would want to see. Living Liquid, oddly enough, people wouldn't want to really see Manipulator, but they'd almost expect to see Manipulator there. But I imagine just the last phase coming down to actually fighting Alexander when he's a giant and not fighting him while he's, got the creepy little claw hands and, the big one behind him. I don't know. I feel like there's room to do some really cool stuff with Ultimate Alexander. I just feel like if they do Ultimate Alexander now, they're setting the precedent for people that Omega would be 4.5. And I just don't see it happening. We still don't even know if Omega's the 4.4 boss as much as I'm convinced he will be, and there will not be a Sephiroth there. If there's a 4.6, yeah, maybe, but I have my own thoughts about that separately. So it's gonna lock in my first two. It's gonna be Warring Triad or Ultima, with Warring Triad being my actual first choice.
Okay.
So,
in regards to this, because we always talk about this. This might not be it, but will Ultimate ever be a council encounter?
I think so. I mean, they've shown the propensity to throw 2 bosses at us in Ultimate already, with Nail and Twin at the same time, and they did a pretty good job with that. For a true council, I do think so, and I think that ultimately, when we get a true council, it will be the generals, the Legatuses, and whatnot. So. I'm going with that. You know what I'm eventually looking forward to? I want to see the Koryu fight first, but I am already thinking about the Ultimate Four Lords fight.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I've been thinking about that for quite some time. We won't see that for like another maybe 2 expansions. I'll do 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see that anytime soon. But I still think the idea of it's like I already imagine Koryu's fight is going to be a visual spectacle without even being ultimate. Like I think it's going to be an emotional and powerful fight in terms of the way it's represented. So an ultimate version of that is something that I have high expectations for. So
in regards to Omega, because this eventually will be an ultimate.
Yeah,
I can just see Omega like just being a trip through history. Like it almost seems the city alike, you know, how you go through it will probably be a council, but it would just be like the city alike where you just go through each individual, you know, setting. You beat one, go to another setting, beat Kefka, go to another setting, whoever else is next.
Yeah.
Please be Ultimecia. Please be Ultimecia. I love you. Please.
You're creeping me out, Sly. Stop it.
Please.
Okay.
Square Enix, Ultimecia.
Stop
love you.
it. Please stop. I need you to stop now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Good.
All right. Good.
All right. So that's it for our ultimate predictions. We even went so far as to predict a few patches ahead.
Yeah. You're welcome, Square Enix.
You're welcome. Now the next thing is Eureka. We do have to do predictions for Eureka.
Do we really? I mean, haven't we like beat a dead horse really at this point? Aren't we really beating a dead horse?
I don't feel like we have. We've spitballed a few things, and I think we need to lock in. I don't even think we hear much about the next Eureka next patch.
I don't think we hear anything.
I don't think we hear about Eureka until the live letter before 4.3, between 4.3 and 4.5. That's when I think we hear about
that's why I think we don't touch it now, because we don't hear anything.
But you know what? Let's do. Here's what we do. We'll throw our prediction in the hat. Mm-hmm. If we don't, by the time we get to that live letter, we'll do like we did with Ultimate. We'll lock it in. That'll be when we lock it in. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going with this. We will get a new Eureka Zone in 4.3x. The opinion has drastically changed for me over the past few weeks. The more I've looked at it, the more I think we're getting a new zone in 4.3x.
Okay.
That zone I'm banking on being the fire zone.
I'm glad we agree on this. That's
okay.
where I was going to. All right.
Is that just verbatim what you were going to predict?
Yep. Pyros.
Yeah.
Is it called Pyros or?
Well, I think there is another word in Greek you can use, but that's what the community's predicted term is.
Pyros,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was going with.
Chat's brought up an interesting point. They say that Xdeath has been co-signed to Omega. What the heck is sealed in the Isle of Val? First of all, I'd like to say one thing.
That's a good question.
No, well, here's the thing. That question doesn't actually matter because the Xdeath in Omega is not real and is based on the story of is based on.
Who's to say he can't exist out of the myth?
It's technically he could technically still exist. I think it's more likely they use Enuo, who was supposed to be the original Void Sorcerer in the optional content of Final Fantasy V. Mm-hmm. And it could be so much so that Xdeath's story that Omega has heard is based off the myth or legend of Enuo. I think whoever it is will technically be the story Omega is pulling his information from, but we'll see the original. It's like the Halicarnassus bit, where we have the Halicarnassus, we see the legend in Hawk Manor, and then we see what the recreation of Halicarnassus is in Omega's realm.
And legs, though.
Never heard anyone say that about O3 Savage. Ever.
How you doing?
All right. So we're both agreeing, yes, a zone in 4.3x and yes. The fire zone. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next thing on the list is Deep Dungeon. Now, this isn't so much where it is, what changes they'll make, but 4.3x or not.
The question you really have to ask is Deep Dungeon or New Quap?
I don't think New Quap. I think we will stick with what we've gotten Quap-wise for the rest of the expansion. They'll update the loot list, maybe make some slight changes. I don't see them adding what they have: the Lost Canals, the Hidden Canals, and the really oh shit I didn't believe you'd find it canals.
That's a good way to put it. The oh shit I really didn't think you'd find it.
I mean, where are you going to go from there?
I mean, there has to be a new one.
Yeah, in 5, I expect 5.0. I'll predict it now. 5.0 will have a new quap. Throw my prediction in the hat.
Oh God, that was too good. Yeah, I still think there's a possibility for a new one sooner than that. But okay, let's devil's advocate say we're gonna be getting a House of the Dead for that. I'm gonna go with the off patch for Palace.
But do you think 4.3x or 4.4x? That's the question.
4.3x.
You think 4.3x?
But off patch, yeah.
I'm so torn with this. I'm having a really hard time locking in my prediction here.
Why?
So with 4.3, based on all the things we just predicted, we have the main story, Hildebrand. Mm-hmm. We have a new dungeon. We have the Doman Enclave. We have a new primal and/or main scenario fight plus an extreme version. We have, and we haven't even gotten to the 24-man yet. We have the 24-man. We have the new ultimate encounter. We have a confirmed update to Eureka in 4.3x. And then we have whatever little things they decide to do. We still don't have certain features they've been teasing, such as the cross-world link shells, and we don't know other things like the duty recorder updates and other and things along those lines. We just don't know what those other, I guess, aspects of the patch are. For 4.3 already sounds like it's pretty busy. So I want to believe the next deep dungeon is 4.3x, because in Frosty's interview, they said they'd have an announcement about harder 4-man content soon, and I think that's tied to the next deep dungeon. But I have a hard time believing they will do it. I feel like I feel like it might even like be far enough along to release, but they might just look at it and be like, it's too busy. Because 4.3 is going to be most of that stuff. 4.3 2 weeks later will be Ultimate. You have to remember, Ultimate, the first time came 2 weeks after the patch. It will not be immediately there. And then you have 4.35, where we're probably going to see the Eureka update. Plus, there's other things like and I guess I'll wait till we get to these prediction-wise. But there's other things they've talked about that may seem like they're in 4.3x. Plus, the new Season of the Feast, some major feast changes in 4.35. They've already acknowledged some of the issues with the current patch. I'm just saying these are things that, while they have their own teams, they are... If a patch looks that busy, I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a piece of content and put it someplace where it might not seem as busy. But if we do get 4 new Eureka zones, I feel like all the patches kind of look busy. So what would they sacrifice? I don't think they sacrifice anything.
Might be a bad word. But
yeah, I think it is a bad word.
like saying sacrifice, but what would they leave out in opposition of like every other piece of content?
I don't think you leave anything out. It's just that it looks very busy. I just feel
That's what I'm saying.
I just feel like they look at that, how busy it is, and they use that as sort of a way to judge when they'll place things. Now, that's not to say we couldn't have something in 4.31, 4.32, 4.35, 4.36. That sounds too busy, though, for what they normally do. I'm okay with it, but it sounds something that's too busy.
Yeah, we all are, but yeah, like it's way too busy for us and them. So
it's never too busy for me, mofo. I'll just roll through this shit anyway. So it's never too busy for me. I play this game too fucking much. All right. So it's hard for me to really nail it in. I think yes. I only say yes because Palace of the Dead was 3.35. It's the main reason why.
So you're going off of previous knowledge.
I'm going to go off.
Okay, that's fine.
Previous knowledge. I think it was. Let me confirm that. 3.
Yeah, confirm. Can we get a minority report on this?
Of the Dead. Deep Dungeon, Palace of the Dead. I guess I should look at patch 3.3 patch notes for Final Fantasy 14. We'll fact check this. Full release. I should technically, I guess, look at 4.35 or 3.35. So let's look at this. 3.35 patch notes. And it indeed, let's see, Revenge of the Horde, The Nightmares, and The House That Death Built. Yeah, 3.35. That's it. The House That Death Built. So yeah, I'm going to use that as my precursor to yes, the next Deep Dungeon will also be. Also with the Party Finder having updated to Deep Dungeons, I feel like they were planning this already. So, so I'm going to log it in. Yeah, and I do think it will be the tower. I feel like I've seen that's
people, where we can agree.
I've seen people on Reddit post what looks to be like a hack to like actually like see the top of the tower. The tower looks smaller than I thought from that top part. But at the same time, I still feel... I mean, we all know scale is completely off. Alexander is way bigger than he actually looks in the hinterlands, etc., etc. So I'm thinking the next deep dungeon, I'm going to go with 4.3x.
Okay.
All right. Next on the list is the 24-man. We are getting the next piece of the Ivalice raid.
Ooh.
Which is something that I feel like has almost been forgotten amongst people speculating over Ultimate.
I don't think it's been forgotten. Like,
it hasn't been, but no one's really talking about it.
That's where I differ. Like, I feel like a lot of people are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's just not been a major point of... I haven't had people talking.
It's been overshadowed. Yeah. It's been kind of overshadowed by everything else, but it's not been completely forgotten. Like, it appeals to the nostalgia boner of every Final Fantasy fan. So
every Final Fantasy Tactics fan and Final Fantasy
12. Yeah, exactly. It's like people aren't gonna forget this.
No one's forgetting. People know it's coming. It's just no one's like, oh yeah, next one. They're like, okay, next Ultimate. What the fuck is that gonna be?
Because people don't want to do Harshmal anymore.
All right, so speaking of Hashmal, that leads to the question: where is this one going? That's the prediction. Pick your tactics in Final Fantasy 12 brain and figure out where are we going. I've got my prediction, but I'll let you go first.
I can't. That's the fucked up part about it. I can't. I really can't pick. I really can't pick anywhere. I really can't think of anywhere this is gonna go from here, from Rabanastre. Go ahead. Like, I seriously can't think of anything.
I believe it's the Necro Hall at Nabudis. And if it's not the Necro Hall, it's the city of Nabudis itself. I feel like so I think we all pretty much agree that the two main enemies we're looking at covering here are Chaos and Ultima. Or Altima. Right. They'll probably call her Altima in this game. So I guess the question is, are we dealing with Altima first, or are we dealing with Chaos first? So
Altima.
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I'm in the boat of Chaos.
Chaos would be like more of a final.
Altima is like, other than Zodiark, Altima is like the high. Altima is the high seraph. Like, that's why I'm leaning towards dealing with Chaos next, and that I have a feeling Nabudis is probably where we end up next one. Now, the lighthouse at Pharos is not an impossibility, but I feel like it's a little weird having the Pharos Sirius plus then having the lighthouse at So I'm feeling like Nabudis is the next place that we end up. And I do suspect a Dramlek will be one of the bosses. Chaos will be... I feel like all four of the bosses are going to be the word's escaping me right now. What's the name for the that they have? Somebody will post it in the chat here in a second. I know that much. Somebody post it. Somebody post it.
Post it. Whatever he's thinking.
Post the Lucavi. There you go. I feel like it'll be all four of the bosses will be Lucavi.
Okay.
Not that there isn't room. The thing is, I'm also much more familiar with 12 than Tactics, so my predictions lead towards the 12 side of things. That's worth saying.
The thing with Tactics is you have so many places.
Yeah, but there's only so many places that are of enough relevance that you end up there as part of a 3-part 24-man series. I feel like there's only so many places you could possibly end up. Zalera, yeah, that's another one. I just expect to see 4 Lucavi. Mateus, Hashmal are both Lucavi, yeah. Well, yeah, I know we've eliminated 2 of them. I'm just saying the next 4 bosses. I think all 4 of the next bosses will be Lucavi.
Yeah.
Riovanes Castle is one that's listed here. There's also the theory that Cuchulainn from Voidark is actually... The one that we fight in Voidark is actually a Lucavi and is not just a Void Beast. There is also that little prediction. Or, well, he's named after one at the very least, so yeah.
So different.
Oh, did they change? Did they change his name? Did they change Cuchulainn's name? I don't remember that. I only know they changed
in Voidark.
In Voidark.
Yeah. No, I don't think they changed it.
I'm pretty sure that they just gave him another N or something. Like they gave him an extra letter or something.
Yeah, it's still Caholan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever. It followed the lore. I mean, that's how Ethos was able to guess we'd end up in Dunskaith after all that time. Yeah. Like that, literally just seeing Caholan's name told him, he predicted as soon as we talked about Void Ark that we would go to Dunskaith.
It was really easy to take it there. Like
yeah.
Caholan, Skothic. Yeah, it was really easy to take it there.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll see. Yep. But I'm going with Nabudis. That's my final prediction for the next 24 man. So fingers crossed, and Chaos is the final boss. You don't need to predict all that. Sorry, I was waving goodbye to the ambulance. Or the police officers, whatever. So that's it? You can't pick a place? Nothing? Nothing? You don't feel confident locking anything in? Damn.
Anything down. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna even try.
Coward.
Fuck you.
Coward. Disappointing. Alright, we're not done with predictions yet, Sly.
No, we're not.
So, well, okay, now I'm curious what you thought was next. Because you sounded like uber confident what you thought was next.
Buffs the buffs.
Oh, yes, yes. That was, yeah, so Samurai and Dark Knight buffs. Okay, I was going to go there, but it wasn't next.
Oh, okay, what was next?
No, we'll go there now because you already brought it up.
Okay.
Samurai and Dark Knight buffs. Yes or no? And if so...
Samurai, yes.
Samurai, yes. Okay.
Dark Knight, I'm 50-50 on.
You don't feel like that? I feel like just out of sheer demand, there will be like 2 super shitty Dark Knight buffs.
We say this every fucking time, and do they actually do it?
But they acknowledged it. They acknowledged it a lot more.
They acknowledged it, but do they actually do it?
But they said that it's because of Warrior and Inner Release that people they've been getting a lot more requests than usual for Dark Knight changes.
So you're saying both?
I think both. Not only are both jobs getting buffs, I think the Samurai one will matter for fucking nothing, and I think the Dark Knight one will be not nothing, but will not be of not enough major significance to cover the points people bring up about the job frequently. Because they need to change Dark Knight from most tanks. The feedback they give me is they need to change it. Inner Release was a major change for the way Dark Knight is ultimately min-max, but I don't see it happening to Dark Knight. I don't know why, I just don't. And with Samurai, I look at how many times they keep buffing Black Mage, and while, yeah, people say, oh man, Black Mage's damage is crazy. And it is. You still don't see people ever discuss them in terms of, outside of being like Black Mage players being like, yeah, I love doing big dick numbers. Samurai already does big dick numbers, and that's what the Samurais love. So comparatively, I don't see them giving them something that makes them anything other than just big dick numbers. I don't know if their dicks will be big enough.
Can you stop saying big dick, please?
No.
Oh, thank you.
Big Dick Damages. That's the construction company's name. Or deconstruction.
Big Dick Deconstruction.
No, Big Dick Damages. Or as Aya puts it, Berg Duck.
Berg Duck Damage.
So, yeah. So that's where you're locking in? You're locking in Samurai, absolutely. Dark Knight, 50-50.
Samurai, absolutely. Dark Knight, meh.
Do you think they'll be substantial? Do you think the buffs will be substantial enough?
Are any buffs substantial enough?
As a monk, yes. I will tell you.
Okay, that's the exception to the rule.
As a Dragoon, also, you should be saying yes, too, because yours were pretty...
I should be saying yes, too, but I didn't ask for half that shit, but I got it. I'm fine.
It doesn't make them not substantial.
I mean, still, true. But when the jobs that actually need it, are they ever really substantial?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, all of Heavensward, Paladin...
How many times have we gotten shit that where...
Never mind.
How many times have we gotten shit where it's like, okay, thanks.
Man, look at all those buffs Paladin got throughout Heavensward, man. It only did absolutely nothing, right?
Nothing, exactly. Fuck. We had to wait a full expansion for them to actually.
But look at
make
Astro.
worth a
Somebody
damn.
said it right as I was about to say it. Astro from fucking 3.0 to 3.4. 3.4. By the time 3.4 rolled around, that shit was dumb. That shit was just dumb.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I agree. Holy shit. Those three, dude, by 3.4, Astro was just dumb. To be fair, people didn't like Bard that much, but Bard was also fucking dumb.
Bard's always been dumb.
I just can't wait to see the next time they give another % back to Hypercharge and then take another % away from Hypercharge and then give it back to Hypercharge.
Like, it makes a fucking difference.
Dude, 1%, oh, you know, it adds up.
I mean, it adds up, but at the same time, it was the most fucking buff or nerf they could have done. It's every time I see it.
So in League of Legends, there's a joke that's called 5AD. There's a 5AP joke and a 5AD joke. And the general thing is whenever they say they're changing a champion and they make a change that's what seems so insignificant, but it actually holds major significance, just not through immediate number, like looking at numbers, it's 5AD. Or 5 armor. I think it's actually 5 armor is specifically the meme that people use regarding when a buff seems so minor that it would probably do nothing, but it actually has a substantial impact. I feel like we could get a 5 armor a 5 armor moment coming here where it seems really small, and then like the Dark Knight Pro comes out and says, "Yo, actually, that shit's crazy." I like how it just looks like I'm wearing a shirt that says "Don't."
Don't.
Just don't. It's like my
Don't.
Eat shirt, where it says "Eat, Sleep, Game, Repeat," but it just looks like Eat because of my camera. I have an Eat
because
shirt.
we're fat asses, right?
Yeah, you know, I go to the gym now.
You know.
I'm doing all right.
Thanks.
All right, so
Thanks.
where I was going to actually go next is something that I actually wanted to hit on earlier, but I didn't. And that was it was a question I had about Eureka that I forgot about, and it was about the item level of the weapon and armor for the next set. I meant to ask about that when we were already talking about it and not come back to it, but I just wanted to get quick item level prediction there. I think we could probably predict most of the other item levels for the stuff. 365 probably for the primal weapons, for whatever we get trial weapons here. You know, 375 weapons from Ultimate with 3 slots, you know, stuff like that. But with Eureka, a lot of people, you know, looking at that and trying to figure it out. Also, will the models change yet is the other thing for Eureka. Will we get new models? They're not even purple yet, so.
For the weapon, you said Primal's 360.
Primal's 365.
Yeah, let's go.
Is that what you're going to do for Eureka?
Yeah.
I agree. I think Eureka weapons will be 365. I think the armor will be 360, but with 5 slots.
Yep.
That is
Which
what
will make it as good as a 365 bare bones. So
it's a bit tougher to predict this because them having 5 slots is not something you can overlook when guessing the item level. Guaranteed 5 slots. Well, actually, I mean, technically, there's no other gear of its item level that has a guaranteed. There's no other item in the game that isn't the crafted pieces that come from Wondrous Tales that have a guaranteed 5 slots. So it's tough because it being 370 wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised to see 370, 365, 370 for the weapon, 365 for the armor. Only because we're hitting a point where the very next patch, the item level goes up anyway. And whatever, like, who cares at that point, right? The five stuff, it gives it maybe a little bit better longevity if it's 365, you know? I just don't know how they're going to do it because you have the issue of a primal weapon being 365 and the tome weapon being 370, and they're not going to make it 367.5. That'd be fucking stupid. So
it would.
That's the only thing that makes me lean a little more towards 370, but I'm still going to lock in the 365, 360 prediction. And we won't know this again until way later.
I'm definitely sticking with 365.
Okay.
370.
Do you think we'll get new models for the weapon and armor yet? I don't think so. I don't think 4.3X is new model. I don't know what they're going to do to make it cooler.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I don't think it's going to be new yet. I don't think it's going to be new until the very end.
When would be a good patch for them to introduce me?
I literally don't think until at minimum 3.45 before we get a new model, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they waited until the final Eureka patch to give them new models.
I don't think they'll wait that.
I think they will.
Yeah.
I think they'll only update all of these items once. I don't see them doing it any other time.
But isn't the point of it to evolve as a weapon?
What happened?
Isn't the point of it to evolve as a weapon?
Yeah, you're evolving the weapon. I don't know. I'm not super... The only thing that makes me think they could maybe do it is the fact that the current one is now named an Onimos weapon. The next one could be called the Pyros. Mm-hmm. But the model didn't change when it became an Onimos weapon. It still was just glowy. And we had to it was technically a +3. So I expect a +1, +2, that same item, and then when you get it towards the end, it just becomes the new name with some sort of additional glow. I don't think we can follow the conventional rules here when it came to the old relics in its entirety. We can follow certain rules, but the model of this, I feel like, is something I won't think is a new one. I especially don't think we'll get 2 new models. Like, technically, the old one was weapon, model change, and then model change again, and then glow. So model change twice. I doubt that happens here.
Okay.
That's just how I feel. That's it.
All right.
So that's where that prediction's gone. Okay, so anything else we need to predict for this Saturday? I feel like all the next things are things you kind of hope to see, but I can't ask you for one specific.
I mean, a lot of it's like quality of life stuff, and we really can't predict that shit.
I think there's going to be some sort of housing quality of life. I just don't know what. I feel like they gave us not like new zones or anything. It's just
nothing. Well, okay, go ahead.
I remember the way they speak about their new plans, and I remember the apartments changing size, being able to upgrade your apartment size being a pretty big thing they spoke about wanting to do eventually. I don't remember what because they literally detailed that we want to do this, then work on these things. And I feel like we got through the first 2 things in that list, so the ability to get larger apartment sizes, I feel like is something that's on the horizon, but I'm not convinced it's 4.3.
I agree with you there. Yeah. I was going to say like that. I think is eventually going to happen. Not this patch, or not like 4.3. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
All right. So I'm hesitant. I kind of want to say they'll at least talk about housing. I feel like something housing related is going to happen, but it's going to be smaller quality of life, not a major like, hey, new zone, new wards, new anything. Right. But they will probably talk about what happened with what they did with the last housing area.
Yeah.
What about the cross-world link shells? This is something that we expected last patch. Didn't get it. They're still working on that app for God knows how long now. Is this
4.5? Please look forward to it.
I was gonna say, is this the patch where we finally get the app?
No. I wish. Okay.
No, yeah, that's right. We're getting Final Fantasy 14 Go. That's right.
This is gonna be another like Sly 4.3 app 4.5. Please look forward to it. All right.
But what about Final Fantasy 14 Go? We're gonna get it. We got to get that soon, right? I already pre-ordered the stick.
We'll get Blitzball sooner than we get that.
You know, for once I agree with you about something Blitzball related.
I'm glad you do, finally.
Well, it's still not happening, so who gives a fuck? But anyway. All right, and then is there any other feature that you kind of just have in your mind, something quality of life that you feel like has been asked for a lot? Obviously, you know the bunny suits, most important quality of life, but something else?
Not that comes to mind. Nothing that comes to mind really. If it does, it'll come after the show, and I'm gonna like kick myself for thinking about it after show. But yeah, nothing that really comes to mind right now. What about you?
No, I think really the app, the crossover link shells is probably a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we already touched on things like job changes and housing and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like there's nothing else I could reasonably ask for and or predict, and I don't have super high expectations for.
Right.
I already look at the whole patch, and I look at everything, and I go, damn. Because again, I'll read it off. Main scenario quest, Hildebrand. 1 new dungeon, I guess a new 4 Lord, new 24 man, new Ultimate, new Eureka, potentially a new or update to Eureka, potentially a new zone, potentially new deep dungeon, updates to the duty recorder once I'm expected, Samurai Dark Knight changes, and then a mention of housing plus the crossover link shells.
Okay.
Those are like the second half of those items are predictions, but it seems within reason they could happen in this odd numbered patch, which is unusual.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it. That's a wrap for me. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
Nope. I pretty much covered everything. Yeah.
All right.
Everything I wanted to cover.
Oh, updates to lockboxes, new potions. Sly, you haven't even heard the potion video yet. He doesn't even know what I'm saying. It's just, he's out. The headset's gone. The 3DS is open. I hope you die in that game.
You're fucking saying so.
I hope you die in that game. I hope you forget to save and die.
Sorry. I'm just gonna farm in Apocalypse. You can just go.
You're gonna die in Apocalypse.
I really don't give a shit at this point.
You're gonna die in Apocalypse. I was hoping you were gonna die in Apocalypse.
No.
Well,
that's what everybody hopes for every Saturday.
And that you didn't save before doing it. There you go.
I did. Yeah.
All right. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap up the show this week. Next week's show will be about live letter. What is the number of this live letter? The live letter part 43. That will be next week's show. We'll probably get a guest or two on for that show. Might do a 4 Horsemen for that one. Just for good. I just got to send a message to both those guys. Yeah. Anyway, on that note, Sly, do you have you want to do the thing? And I'm doing it after we sign off. I'm gonna do our outros and then I'm gonna read them.
You ain't have to let me know this time.
I do because you give me looks.
I don't give you. You think I give you looks every time, but I really don't.
That's because you just give looks and you don't even think about it.
I promise you, I don't give looks. I don't even think about it. I'm sorry. Sorry, I have faith in you. I believe in you. I believe.
Okay.
Wait, what am I saying? Okay. All right.
Outro, Sly.
God damn it. Okay. You can find me at twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox. You can find me on Instagram at Slyakagreyfox07. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/The Velvet Room. I actually did a video today. They just released a Q&A about Strange Journey Redux from the developers, from the core developers. So the director, the world's design, and the new demon designer. So I did a video on that. I'll be rendering it probably sometime tonight and get that on the YubTubs. Facebook.com/Slyakagreyfox. Yeah. Same old. Still giving away copies of Strange Journey until the game actually fucking comes out, and then I'm gonna be playing that for a week.
You're a Strange Journey.
The fuck? Was that supposed to be drunk you?
No.
Okay.
I don't get drunk, Sly. They can still see you mouthing that. All right. You don't want to lead into there you go.
You didn't even have to ask. I was about to. But sure. Yeah. Fuck you too. Where can they find you, Mr. Happy?
They can find, that's my name. They can find me, Mr. Happy127, at Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And what do I got? I got Opera Omnia. There's a new thing coming out in like an hour and 20 minutes. The Ferris event. So I'm going to play that tomorrow. I'm playing Dauntless again. It's giving out partner flares and shit to subscribers. Well, they gave me 500 codes, beta codes, that were beta codes and my partner flare in one. So I'm just like, hey. And they're announcing when the open beta is tomorrow. The open beta is not tomorrow, but they'll announce when it starts.
They'll announce it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I've been getting back in the Dauntless, and that's been a good time. And I got Final Fantasy 15 on Thursday, and then I go to Vancouver next week for KupoCon. On like Friday. I go there Friday and I come back Sunday early. So if you're going to be in Vancouver at KupoCon, go and high-five me. There you go. Just like that.
No.
That'll
Give him a great big fucking hug.
I don't want fucking hugs. Those are from behind.
Yeah. For our sponsors this week, Abby.
And so this week, we're gonna read our sponsor list now. So thank you to our sponsors over on Patreon who have been supporting #demonetized. And as you can tell towards the latter half of the show, it still comes in handy. You want to know something different that YouTube does now? They don't even tell me when a video is necessarily demonetized, and so I don't know if a video is ever demonetized. I just get an email with every video I post that says this video is now suitable for all advertisers like 6 hours later. I don't even request it anymore, so I don't know if it's not monetized and they won't tell me, but they just tell me when they've auto-approved. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. YouTube, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I need some info here, please. I'm sure I could Google it, and I'll do that at some point, but I need some fucking info, all right? So, to combat #demonetized, you've had people over on Patreon supporting. And now we're going to shout them out. First, we have our Patron of Love.
What was that?
That was me trying to be different. Sly. And then doing push-ups for the picture. That's Khuja Cross. It's Khuja Cross from the Jenova server. Doing push-ups. I did push-ups yesterday. I was doing circuit training, and push-ups are part of them. It's good. Good. I like push-ups. Push-ups are good. Thank you for being a patron of light, Khuja. So, hopefully you didn't mind me turning into an elephant. But, you know. An elephant that is trying to speak with its mouth and not with the trunk, where it does the I can't even do that. I can't even do it.
Just no.
All right. Anyway, let's move on. So then we got to thank our sponsors. We have our standard sponsors: Serren the Avalanche family on Marlborough. We have Johnny Odin of Tomberry, Nyrek Vizsla the Emerald Dragoon, Kifkin the Grey Eagles on Exodus, Dark Graver, Katayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rah Xephon from Exodus, Rylanator Westaur the Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goetia Valefar of Siren, Hersh Fersh of Faerie, Phoenix Time Free Company on Goblin, and Serren from Zodiark. Then we have our elite sponsors. We have Diablo, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn Asura, Kurenai Oni, Askin Hawk from Shiva, Oscar, Kraz015, Mustang, the Serenity FC on Ultros, Kat Kazuma, Kiryoshi and the Reckless Tea Party on Cactar, Ignis Fairgun from the Diablo server, Valestra of Fanfrit, who I met at PAX East, Nox Quarters from Excalibur, Corvus Moonscar, Nakanayame of Balmung, Private Mikey, Spike, Nadia Kirasame, Rudy Rudiger, Tin Colossus, Killer Hackman, Raul Jr, Remiel Gaming, and Kiltastic Jones. Why are you knowing? The Patron of Light is a giraffe. When I hear the Patron of Light is a giraffe, I go, ha 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 ha, it's a giraffe. I think that's the joke, because I think it's actually an elephant. Is it actually an elephant in that episode and he calls it a giraffe? I think it is. SpongeBob! You don't know this meme where he just goes, ha ha, it's a giraffe, and it's a fucking elephant or something?
Has not seen a full episode of SpongeBob ever in his life.
Where are you on the screen compared to me? Has not had a childhood.
No, I had a good fucking childhood.
This one. Right here. Just nothing. Well, that's a wonderful face right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, we're going to go into a short post show before I have to go and raid in 20 minutes. So, thank you everyone for joining us this week. We'll see you next week for live letter number 43 overview. And until then, take care.
See you next week.